In this video, we are going to take a look at LSU and have they been disrespected by the tournament committee by making them a number 3 seed? Or is LSU getting their just reward for their cupcake schedule? We will take a look in detail. Before we start, if you like the content, then please give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. All right, let's get into this. As you are likely now aware, LSU was made a 3 seed and are part of the Albany Region 2. How'd I do? So yes, they're in the Albany Region 2, which is otherwise known as the Region of Death because it has number 1 seed Iowa and then number 2 seed UCLA and of course 3 seed LSU. And well, here's the tension. Many feel, including me probably, that UCLA and LSU are probably in the top 4 in terms of the teams in the tournament if you go by the dreaded eyeball test, which can prove nothing, but it's just a feeling you have when you look at that team and they play. But then you look at the numbers and the resume they put. I understand it has holes, but that is the tension with LSU being a 3 seed and meeting UCLA in the Sweet 16 so early on. So first, let's take a look at LSU. It's pretty clear they are paying a price for their strength of schedule, which is 52, and the lowest of all the other 8 teams ranked in front of them. And just a reminder, the teams in front of them are South Carolina, Iowa 2, USC, probably 3, Texas 4, Stanford 5, UCLA 6, Ohio State 7, and Notre Dame 8. And I make that reminder because it's all well and good to say, oh, it's poor LSU and the injustice they suffered, but you need to make a case of who they're better than and who should be moved down. And when I look at it, I see basically 2 candidates. I would think it'd be Notre Dame, who's probably number 8, or Texas, who's actually number 4 and a number 1 seed. I know, shock horror, I said Texas, but I'll make a case for both of these being moved down. First of all, Notre Dame was 26-6. Their strength of schedule was 35. They played well. Obviously, they won the ACC tournament. Kudos to them and got a boost, but as well, it's understood that the tournament was a bit weaker, obviously, because Virginia Tech was out without Kitley, who was injured, had her ACL injury, or that's not confirmed yet, but suspected ACL injury. So I would think LSU could make a case that they are a stronger team as they went 28-5 in the SEC. And yes, they did not win the SEC tournament, but they gave South Carolina a good go at it in the championship game, and as well, they finished second in the SEC. I think that's a pretty strong resume, and you could make the case that they should be ranked higher. And before Notre Dame fan yells at me, I'm sure you would be happy to be ranked number 4 like Virginia Tech and be in Portland 3 region and have to face off against USC, but a different USC, not South Carolina, but the University of Southern California, and just say, hey, Virginia Tech, you were the number 2 seed. You just had that bad injury. You can take that number 2 spot and face off against South Carolina to get to the Final Four. Now, I'm sure Texas would be more controversial dropping them down, and I understand. But when I look at Texas, I just don't know how good Texas is. They were 30-4. They looked impressive in the tournament versus Iowa State. But again, who are you more scared of? Are you if you were going up against an opponent, would you be more scared with Texas, who obviously has Madison Booker and they're playing well, versus going against LSU, who's 28-5 and finished second in the SEC, versus Texas, who finished second in the regular season in the Big 12? In terms of big wins on their resume, I guess their biggest was beating UConn at home, and that was when they had Roy Harmon. Their strength of schedule is 41. Like I said, LSU's strength of schedule is 52, so that's pretty close. So again, I think if you say LSU needs to be moved up, then those would be the 2 I would look at. Or I don't know the logistics of it, but if Texas is a 1 seed, then, and you're going to say LSU is a 3 seed, then put LSU in Texas bracket. So I know they already have Stanford over there, but you just have to readjust it some way so that, okay, you are a 1 seed Texas. Well, okay, we'll give you this easy 3 seed LSU to play off to get into the Final Four. Now, LSU did move up. When the first rankings were announced on the 15th of February, they were a 4 seed, as they were hurt by 3 losses from 14th of January to the 29th of January, those being to Auburn, South Carolina, and then Mississippi State. But then after that, after the Mississippi State loss, they ripped off 10 straight wins, improved their defense over that period, holding their opponents to under 40% from the field, and then ultimately they wound up making it to the championship game of the SEC tournament, but obviously lost to South Carolina in that game that had controversies with it as well. They did not have Williams and Poa in the championship game. During the first reveal, it was clear when the tournament selector representative, I can't remember her name, spoke, they were punishing teams for poor or soft non-conference schedules, because their take was you can control that and you can't control your conference schedule. So therefore, that's why LSU is being punished essentially. And hey, I'm all for that. If you're going to say we're going to punish teams for poor non-conference because I want better games. But the flaw in this scenario right here, still having LSU as a 3 seed, is the team that you're punishing is basically UCLA, because UCLA had the best strength of schedule out of anybody. Theirs was number 1, with good non-conference wins over UConn, Ohio State, at Ohio State, and then as well, I think they won in Arkansas as well. So they took on all comers, and their reward for this is they get a 2 seed, which is understandable because you can't put them ahead of Southern Cal and Stanford. They lost their head-to-head to Stanford, although Lauren Betts wasn't there, and they lost in double overtime to Southern Cal. So understand why they are a 2 seed, but the other reward for them is they're going to give them the toughest number 3 seed, who probably should be, in reality, a number 2 seed. The other solution would have been to move UConn to Albany 2, but if they would have done that, there would have been a bloody outcry of UConn bias, and how would you do this? But I wonder if UCLA would have preferred to play UConn at Albany versus going against LSU at Albany on a neutral site. So overall, yes, I feel that LSU has been disrespected, or at the very least punished for their weak non-conference schedule, which I'm fine with that if you're going to punish them for their weak non-conference. I made a video taking a shot at them, but they are better than a 3 seed, and the team that you're really punishing is UCLA, because they will have to face them in the Sweet 16. As well, another great matchup of Iowa. I would much rather watch a rematch of Iowa if Iowa makes it and LSU in the Final Four versus an Elite 8 matchup like they have set up right now. Overall, am I too worried about this? Not really. And should LSU be really worried about this? Nah, because they were made a 3 seed last year. They had to go through Utah to make it to the Final Four, which they did. I'm sure they're supremely confident they can get through UCLA. And in truth, this will just put a giant chip on their shoulder, which they can use to take them further in the tournament, I have no doubt. Plus, it gives us more of a chance to see UCLA LSU matchup, which I am definitely here for. All right, your poison thoughts below. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a good night.